Hello, so today we're in Shropshire and we're going to be having a walk up a hill called the Wrekin, or up and around the hill actually. And I've just parked on the car park, and this is called the Forest Glen car park. You do have to pay for this one, but there's a little bit of parking a bit further down the road that looks to be free, but that will fill up quite quickly in the morning. So we're just coming down here, and I believe we have to cross this road first, which is quite quiet at the moment. And then if we walk up this path, I think we then have to turn left around the corner. Alright, so we're just turning that corner now. Okay, so according to the map and the instructions, first of all we have to follow this path through the woods, uphill for a little while. And this walk, it's around 4 miles in length. And I actually got this off the BBC Countryfile website. And it's labelled as a moderate walk. And I think it goes up around 300 metres in height. So it's a decent little walk for a Saturday morning or something like that. While you're sort of training to go up a few higher mountains a bit later on. And then at the top of this path we have to turn around this corner. And this wide path carries on for quite a while. There's nothing tricky about this walk so far. It's well used. I've come across quite a few people so far. Okay then. So towards the top of this path you'll come to quite an obvious junction here. And we're going to be turning right and continuing up the hill. So you don't want to go over there, where it sort of stays a bit level or downwards. You want to turn right up here. And you'll have this wooden fencing on your right hand side, just so you know you're on the right path. And apparently this building just past the fencing on the right hand side, this is known as the halfway house. And so you continue on after the halfway house, and then you'll come to this corner where you have to sort of turn back on yourself and carry on up the hill. So it's a bit of a sharp left up here, not long after the halfway house. And I will be turning left here, but if we just pop off to the right here for a very, very short detour, we can see that we're starting to see views here. That might be the town of Wellington or something like that. I'll just get a little photo and pop that up. Okay then, so we're back onto that track now, where we're turning left around the corner. And then basically you keep slogging it uphill for a little while. And then as we continue towards the top of this rubbly track, I think it might be plateauing a bit at the top. We shall see very shortly. Let's have a look. So it does indeed plateau for a little bit here. And as we're on this sort of plateau a little bit, apparently this area used to be the outer earthworks of an old hill fort known as Hell's Gate. And this was the tribe's first defensive barrier. And just before we start to ascend again, you can see here there's a helpful little information board talking about the old hill fort. And there's an old map of how it might have looked. And I'll pop a picture up of that, I think. And so we continue up the hill. And at the top of that hill, you'll come to another little plateau here, with a little wooded area to your right. Okay, so as we continue, I think we've been going through an area known as Heaven's Gate, and this is sort of where the inner ramparts were. And up ahead you can see some obvious sort of earthworks. And I think originally, back to the days of the Countryfile tribe, this area would have been sort of surrounded by wooden fencing and stuff like that. By the looks of this, you can imagine this might have been some kind of gatehouse or something. And we'd sort of be going through the middle of it now. And then once you're over there, I think we're pretty much on the top now. I think the true summit's in the distance over there. So we'll carry on along. There's a transmitter tower over there. And apparently, during excavations in 1939 and 1973, fragments of Iron Age pottery And remains of the Countryfile tribe's wooden huts were actually discovered along, well, around this area somewhere. It's getting quite windy now as we head to the summit, so I've attached my external mic, so that might help a little bit, but you probably still hear some wind noise, I would have thought. And that's looking back across the top, so I suppose the fortress would have been up here, or sort of the inner part of the fort. And then this is the summit ahead of us. And as you can see, all the views of the surrounding towns and stuff come into view. There it is, our green and pleasant land, as they say. Let's have a little walk to the edge here. Wow. So you can see it was a great little mound to have a fort on. You could see all the surrounding areas to see if anyone was sort of, if any invading armies were sort of heading towards you or whatever. It's great views from up here, really is. And this is looking back along towards the hill fort now. Alright then, so let's go to the summit. Here's the toposcope. Here's the summit. Give this a little touch. Here's the views from the top. Here we go, so 1,335 feet apparently. And obviously this shows you what areas are in all the different directions. Okay, so we'll continue with the rest of the walk now. We'll carry on. Now first we head in for that rocky outcrop down there. Lovely view from up here. So again, we'd probably be walking through some kind of gatehouse on the other side of the top now. Oh, nearly fell over. That was good. Coming a bit nearer to that rocky outcrop that we saw from the top. Some more views from around the top, just before that rocky outcrop that we just saw. And if you walk along towards that outcrop again, we can see it there. Do be careful if you come over this side, because there are some steep drops down this way. And if you look pretty much straight ahead in the middle of the picture now, towards the bottom of that outcrop, as we can see it here, you can sort of see a little cleft in the bottom of the outcrop there. And apparently that was called the Needle's Eye, and there's a legend or something around that. So I've just zoomed in a tiny little bit, just so that you can see that. Let's have a little walk up here. And we'll continue on. Okay, so that was along the top and the summit. We'll now carry on with the rest of the circular walk. It's definitely worth coming up here. It's not the most strenuous hill walk, but it'll get you ready for slightly bigger hills and small mountains, etc. It's lovely views and everything. Honestly, I'd really recommend this. And so we sort of go back into the wooded area now, once we've descended a little while. And I suppose we're going to follow this path, and eventually we'll sort of come to a left turn eventually, and then we'll start going back on ourselves, I would have thought. Okay, so a little right here and we'll be continuing on that path down there. There can be some loose sections of stone and stuff, so try to make sure you're wearing appropriate footwear and stuff, especially on the way down. So like I say, we're just heading down through the trees here. This is actually one of the steepest bits going down here. And if you've done quite a bit of walking, well, hill walking and mountains and stuff before, you'll know that going downhill actually can be the hardest part sometimes. It can take a bit of a toll on your knees and stuff like that, and it can be quite slippy, so you do have to be more careful quite often on the downhill bits. And obviously look out for the tree roots and stuff that can trip you up. So it's all about just being careful really, and take your time if you need to, and all that type of thing. There's no rush, it's not a competition. So yeah, as I'm finding out, and as you can see, this quite steep downhill bit does actually go on for quite a while. So just be prepared for that. And again, wear some footwear with decent grip on it. Okay, so we're just about at the bottom of that sort of scree path or hill, and we'll get to this junction here. You can either go straight ahead, right, or turn left. And on our walk we're going to be turning left up here, and we'll be following this path for a little while. So let's continue on. Yeah, so we're sort of on the lower slopes of the Wrekin now, and we're sort of following it round along the lower parts. Okay, so this section of the walk goes on for quite a while, sort of undulating along the lower hill. Okay, so eventually we'll come to a little junction of tracks again. And we're not going to be going right down there. We're going to turn left up here. So we're into another section with tree cover here. And apparently this little stretch is going to go on for about a mile, heading in the general direction of where we started earlier. So we'll just carry on along here. Okay, so we're heading uphill again slightly now, whereas we've been pretty much on flat level for the last mile and a half or something like that. Come to another little crossroad of paths here. We're just going to carry straight on here. And we'll just follow this path again. Okay then, so coming towards the end of this path, up the left there, that's where we started walking up towards the summit earlier. So we need to carry on down here, which is where we came from earlier. Morning. Okay, so we're on the way back down to the car park and stuff now. But yeah, like I said, I'd really recommend this walk. It's a fun little walk, even as a one-off. But if you want to do it as sort of training to do some bigger hills or small mountains or whatever as you progress, it's really good for that as well. So yeah, very much recommended, and lovely views from the top. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching my video. I really appreciate it, I always do. And I shall see you next time. Thanks a lot.